Good evening. Welcome to the Yorktown Central School District Board of Education meeting for February 11, 2019. Can I have a motion to go into executive session for the matters pertaining to the employment history of a particular individual and negotiations under the Taylor Law?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Motion to go back into public session?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Yorktown Central School District Board of Education meeting for February 11, 2019. And we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be followed by a moment of silence for our armed forces and those in our community who have lost loved ones, especially the father of Nancy Tarente, the father-in-law of Al Tarente, the mother of Elizabeth DeAngelis, and the grandmother of Aaron O'Neill.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Dr. Hatter, you have good news for us tonight?
We do. So for this school year, we've added a wonderful feature. During my travels, I see so many great things happening in our schools, and decidedly we've added a Superintendent Showcase where I get to feature some of the amazing things that our children and teachers are doing. This evening, we have a very special presentation from members of our Art Honor Society, and they're led by Mrs. Verada. So at this time, I'm going to turn the program over to Mrs. Verada.
So if you remember last year, we decided not a fan of these things. Hello. Last year, we decided to dedicate a mural to the Board of Education for their support for that board recognition. And these are the lovely ladies, the artists. We have Cheryl Luo, Nina Ansaldi, and Alexis Laurent, who for a full year, right, I would say, worked on a mural in the school, in a very large area on the second floor. So they're going to present this mural to you, what their intentions were, where their thought process went after they started and after they realized, you know what, this is going to be for you guys, so what could they do to it to add that to the mural? And there's a couple of cool videos, and they had a lot of fun doing it too, so it'll be fun to see. But in the end, they did a fantastic job, and we couldn't be happier with this result in the high school. So Cheryl, Nina, and Alexis.
Hi, I'm Nina Ansaldi. So we decided to paint this mural at the beginning of last year, and we noticed that the hallway in the upstairs, we noticed that this specific section of the hallway upstairs was very vacant. And so unlike last year's mural where we just painted one wall, we decided that we wanted to incorporate all three walls to make it really interactive and like change the experience of how someone walks through the hallway. So our original idea was to sort of show like a transition from like a thought process into an idea that's creative. And so we decided to do like a doodle into colors, which transition into a man walking. So even though the picture cut it off, there is a man walking on one side. And as you experience the mural, it transitions into the man walking away, which is meant to symbolize like a thought process you have as a creative person. And we just wanted to incorporate what it's like to have an artistic vision for people who maybe struggle with trying to come up with an idea. So this whole mural was supposed to represent what it's like to like go through a thought process in creating art.
My name is Cheryl Liu, and something also interesting about our mural is that we incorporated our own art styles in it. So we're going to show you like a time lapse of us painting the murals. Alexis will go into this further, but essentially the three of us are, we all like art, but we like different styles of it. Nina likes more like visual based and more realistic art, and Alexis and I prefer like typography and doodles. So it required like the collaboration of the three of us to work on a mural like this. So as you can see from the video on the screen, that's us painting the mural, and we were painting quotes that were shown throughout the school. So that one says, it's about like learning and how to inspire students, like that. So if you see us sitting down, it's because we're discussing what we would plan to draw on the wall, and we didn't want to mess up any quotes or grammar. Yeah.
All right. Hi, I'm Alexis Laurent, and like Charles said, I focus more on the typography part. And a lot of our inspiration for the imagery was actually paralleling parts of my planner. I can like pass it around if you want. Yeah, so as you see, you can see, yeah, you can look at it. As you can see, there's a lot of different symbols and cute little images of just like pencils and airplanes, anything that's like school related and nice and doodly and cute. And this is the one side that Nina focused on. There might be other people that are involved in the video just because this is a lot of work, and we do like to incorporate other people's inspiration and creativity in this. So we do invite some of our friends to help us as well.
I would like to add that if you notice on the right side of the mural, there's a dragon and it says fail underneath. And this is because I wanted to do this idea where the dragon would go across the mural, but it didn't work out. So I like playfully wrote fail just temporarily. It's not actually on the mural today. And I ended up turning the dragon into a wave, but keeping the same shape of it, but transforming it into a wave. So we painted over that.
So sometimes we would get spontaneous ideas for this mural, such as the geometric shapes that you see we are painting right now. Essentially, we wanted to transition, a smooth transition from like the geometric doodles of black and white on the right side of the mural to like a more like circular, bubbly, colorful side of the mural on the left. And so when we were jumping up and down, throughout this mural, we got a lot of inspiration while we were painting, which is something that I really liked because although we had a plan in the beginning, I liked that we were able to take new ideas from the peers around us and make it into something even greater.
Yes. What?
Okay. So continuing off of what Cheryl said about how we're stemming from ideas of our peers, another thing I would like to add is that the student planner of this year was also created by me, right here. I can also pass this around. So the student planner that I created for this year also parallels most of what is shown in the mural and my planner, so everything just comes full circle in terms of inspiration and creativity.
Another thing I'd like to add is when we were coming up with the concept on what to draw on the doodle side, we originally had very random like images that weren't really related to the school. But when we found out that we were dedicating the mural to the Board of Education, we decided to incorporate more Yorktown spirit. So as you could see between some of the images, we really tried to put some of the doodles related to school, and so it like can relate to the students a little more. And a lot of the quotes were inspired by the fact that we wanted to make it really part of learning and then tie in like the whole art aspect of it.
Yeah, so that's our mural. Thank you for listening. And I also want to say that I just want to like thank everyone that participated in making the mural, including you guys, because we got a lot of inspiration from the people around us. Like if you really look into the doodles on this black and white side of the mural, we were asking students, like, if you think of math, what do you think of? And they were like, oh, I think of sine and cosine graphs. And then we included that in our mural. Or we like, what do you think of when you go to school? And they're like, oh, I think of hanging out with my friends in the cafeteria. So we drew like pizza and like chatting, like chat bubbles, things like that. So every little doodle like represents a little part aspect of life in Yorktown High School, which is what we were trying to convey. If you have time, I would like encourage you to look more into the actual like doodles. But everything, like we put a lot of effort into making every single part of this mural like, significant to us, everyone. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Cheryl, Alexis, and Nina, first of all, wonderful presentation. Absolutely wonderful. I love the time-lapse video that you did. That's so creative. For you to devote so much time to this, because it was evident in just going through the hallway and actually seeing the work, and I'd love for the board at some point to come through and take a look at it for yourself. You young ladies spend so much time doing this, and obviously you love art and you're so gifted at it, and you should be so proud of yourselves. And to devote it to the Board of Education, to devote all of the work that you put in and devote that to the board is so meaningful and it's so inspiring. It's the greatest recognition. I'll speak on behalf of the board and then they'll speak for themselves. It's the greatest recognition, honestly, that the board can get is something that you've devoted so much time to for them. So thank you so much for everything that you did in making this mural come to life. Well done.
If you want to see, there's one last video that kind of
Yes.
shows you the completed whole mural
Oh, beautiful.
and how to experience walking in.
So that's
Okay.
the man walking into the mural.
That is unbelievable. You guys are so talented. It is such an honor that you did that and you dedicated to us, but I loved your thought process. I love the way it was all everything you did was thoughtful, and just understanding your thought process and hearing what you did is, man, you're creative. I don't know what else to say. It's incredible. Thank you. You guys want to say
No, it was
anything?
amazing, and I love the way you were so neat during. Like, there's no tarp on the floor. There's no paint all over you. I was just so impressed. It was awesome.
It's beautiful. It's unique, the thought process and the amount of thought that went into the whole concept of it. You know, a person walking through and sort of walking through that thought process is so apropos for the setting that it's in the high school, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Really, thank you so much. It's really an honor.
You should know you're incredibly talented. I mean, it's beautiful. I can't wait to see it in person. And thank you for your dedication and your hard work. You can tell by the videos and the time lapse. You took something from nothing to something so beautiful. So thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. It's an incredible piece, and I'm the furthest thing from an artist that you will find. So as you were speaking, one of the things that struck me, and maybe you can share with us a little bit, is where did some of these inspirations come from? And you said we were brainstorming and we're talking, and we had this inspiration. What does that feel like? Like, where exactly does that come from?
So last year we actually painted another, 2 years ago, we painted a mural near the library, and that was simply a mural of flowers, and these flowers had different meanings behind them, and it kind of represented our senior class. And this time we wanted to paint a mural that was more catered, like, it was more representative of our own art styles. As I said previously, like, the three of us have different artistic styles and approaches to things, and we kind of want to combine it into one. And we thought that there's something that connects us to every student at YHS, and it's that, like, we have a sense of individuality, and that's something that we want to convey. So, as I said previously, we would ask them, like, what is your favorite part of YHS? And they would mention clubs, they would mention, like, school events, and we all try to incorporate that into our mural.
Remarkable.
I'd also like to add that I'm an aspiring artist, and I'm planning to pursue fine arts in college. And so an important aspect of when I'm creating pieces is the whole thought process of it. And so making this mural was really just me digging down to the core of what happens when you need to think about just creating a new piece. And so the whole mural is just about that whole thought process from the first sketches to the final piece, and having the man walk through is just symbolic of like your journey when you're creating a painting or a piece, any piece of artwork really. And so we wanted to relate on that together since we all are very artistically inclined.
Unbelievable.
I would also just like to add that one important reason why I personally wanted to do this was because this was a form of de-stressing for me, in that I'm not going to lie, last year I took a lot of math-based courses, and you can see a lot of math-based references in this mural because I was stressed and I needed to convey something creative while de-stressing and relaxing with my friends.
Thank you.
Unbelievable. Pete, did you want to say something?
And Mike, I would probably fight you for the least creative in the room, but really, your creativity is inspiring. I grew up in an artistic household, and again, I saw it firsthand, but again, I have no creativity to speak of. And the fact that you did this on our behalf is truly inspiring to me, and it's one of the biggest reasons I do this is because of the students. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Yes, did you guys want to say anything? Good, okay. All right.
Watching the process that you went through, I'm so touched by the motivation behind what you did, but also the fact that you worked so collaboratively together, had different styles. You know, that's the real world, and you showed that you can take all of your strengths and combine them to something beautiful. So very touched by what you did. And Ms. Verada, thank you for all that you do for our children, and you are art in our district, and you represent all of that beauty, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going
we end
to
now?
take just a quick recess, and so, girls, if, and Mrs. Verada as well, if you'd like to depart, you may. You can stay for the rest of the meeting. You're absolutely welcome to.
Your budget.
Everyone is welcome to. You can hear Mr. Cole present the budget, but if not, have a great evening. Thank you so much for being here. We really
Enjoy your
appreciate
snow
it.
day.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, well, how do you top that mural? That's awesome. All right, we have public comment. Anybody wishing to speak on agenda-related items? No? Okay, we're going to move on to the superintendent's report, the budget.
Yes, so this evening, we will feature another one of our...
This evening we'll feature another one of our budget presentations. It is the budget presentation on general support, employee benefits, and facilities. And for that, I will turn the presentation over to Mr. Cole.
Thank you, Dr. Hatter. And indeed, tonight, we will provide you with the fourth presentation in our 7-part budget series. In the following slides, we will discuss the general support and employee benefits section of the budget. The general support section includes all areas of the budget that support the delivery of instruction to our students, everything from finance to the facilities department. The Board of Education section of the budget includes the office of the district clerk, as well as the mandated cost of the annual budget vote and elections. We continue to use the BOLD software system, an automated means of tracking and controlling the voter rolls. Central Administration and Finance includes the equivalent of 8 employees. These sections encompass the Office of the Superintendent and the entire financial operation of the school district. In the Finance section, money is budgeted for the settlement of contracts across the breadth of the school district. The Contractual Expense section includes the cost of outsourcing the majority of the payroll function, the annual cost of the fully integrated accounting system called Envision, the cost of outsourced Medicaid services, educational data cooperative bidding services, outsourced independent asset management services, and the cost of IRS-compliant administration of the district's deferred compensation plan. 2 more areas affiliated with the finance department that capture the cost of auditing, both internal and external audits, and the cost of the claims auditor. All of these are unfunded mandates from the state of New York. The cost of the treasurer's office and legal counsel services are also represented here. Legal costs rise next year as a result of prior year's actual experience based on a function of use. Human Resources is the home to 3 employees. All of the costs associated with recruiting, benefits management, and employee relations are captured here. The special items section of the budget is where we find liability insurance costs, the cost of Xerox workstations throughout the district, and some of the BOCES-related administrative costs. We entered into a new lease agreement for Xerox workstations in the 2018-2019 school year. We do not expect a change in the total annual cost in the 2019-2020 school year. Note the last 2 lines on this page are related to the Boces budget. We are part of the Boces consortium made up of 18 school districts in our region. These costs, administrative costs of the Boces operation and the Boces capital projects costs, are apportioned to each district based on a formula that includes primarily assessed valuations in each district. Property tax refunds increase next year to account for 2 properties that reside in both the Yorktown and Chappaqua school districts. In these 2 cases, the homeowners have elected to attend the Chappaqua schools, so our collected taxes by law must be used to reimburse the Chappaqua schools. We're going to move along now to discuss the facilities section of the budget. Just a brief summary of the school buildings under this umbrella. French Hill is still idle, but being leased out to 12 individual tenants. The school district's wrestling program is located within the building, and we retain a series of rooms for the purposes of storage and for testing in the high school. We currently generate revenue from tenants sufficient to maintain the buildings and grounds on that campus and provide a modest positive cash flow that reduces the tax rate. Here's a brief look at the structure of the facilities group under the guidance of the Director of Facilities. While the staffing levels in the facilities department remain the same from last year, new this year is the creation of a maintenance foreperson position to assist with the oversight of building maintenance and cleaning. There is a corresponding reduction of 1.0 full-time equivalent cleaner that helped facilitate this transition. All cleaning and maintenance positions are continually evaluated before replacements are recommended and ultimately hired. The mix of position titles may change based on needs of a particular building or a required skill set. The operations of the physical plant section includes costs related to all staff salaries, heating and cooling commodity costs, and all of the materials and supplies necessary to support operations. The cost of snow removal operations, providing access to outside community groups, and the oversight of the French Hill School building, idled since 2010, are also captured here. The upkeep codes reflect the large amount of work we're now able to do with in-house labor in the form of carpentry, HVAC systems, plumbing, electrical work, and site projects. We also utilize outside contractors obtained through bids and requests for proposals to perform more in-depth work on heating and cooling systems. This is a summary of the general support section, and in total, the entire general support section of the budget increases by just over $114,000, or 1.27%. We'll now carry on to discuss the employee benefits section of the budget. These costs are not allocated to individual areas within the budget. In 2019-2020, we anticipate using $500,000 of district reserves to reduce the cost of the employees' retirement system. The district has established a reserve for this specific purpose, and we intend to employ some of the money to reduce taxes. The teachers' retirement system costs are mandated by the state of New York. The pension benefit is embedded in the state constitution. The school district pays a percentage of total teacher salaries to the pension system each year. The contribution rate that school districts pay is directly related to the health of the state pension system's investment portfolio. The better the investment returns, the lower the district contribution rate. The rate of required contribution can fluctuate wildly from year to year. Last year, the rate for school districts was 10.63 cents of every dollar in salaries paid. Next year, the rate will decrease to 8.86 cents of every dollar paid. The result is a budgetary decrease of just over $700,000. It should be noted that since 1980, the highest rate of contribution has reached over 23 cents of every dollar paid in salary. The health insurance costs increased due to a 3.5% increase in premiums. The district belongs to the Putnam Northern Westchester Health Insurance Consortium, which includes 14 area school districts. In total, the employee benefits section of the budget is expected to decrease by $865,000, or minus 4.2%. Our next presentation will be on February 25th, where we will talk about the tax cap calculation, the condition of state aid, and the district's cash reserves. And we'll be more than happy to take any questions you might have about the information presented here. You're welcome.
I wasn't on, now I'm on. You mentioned the creation of a position for a maintenance foreperson. Can you tell us why that position was created and what the responsibilities are?
Well, there was a need. The Director of Facilities identified a significant need in terms of the oversight of the buildings, particularly on this campus where 50% of the population resides. So the position was created, and it was a promotion from within this unit into this position to be able to provide greater supervision and some more continuity of the way we do things between buildings. So it was first attempted last year, or brought to our attention last year. We were able to implement it for the first time this year, and it's been significantly successful. This person works with head custodians and senior custodians in the buildings, and works on the alignment of the processes and protocols they use to clean the buildings. It's been highly successful to this point.
Thank you.
I have a question regarding when you were talking in the auditing section about the mandated costs. Can you talk a little bit more about that and explain exactly what we're required to pay?
Sure. In the financial operation, there are 3 auditing mandates that are all unfunded. We have the requirement to provide the public and the Board of Education with an external audit that's conducted each year. Cost of that is just over $30,000. It's where the financial statements are produced. We also have an internal auditor that looks at our processes internally, that does an intensive review of a different area of our operation each year. That cost is somewhere in the neighborhood of $20,000 a year. And then we have an internal claims auditor that we're required to employ that looks at every check before it's issued, and that cost is about $15,000 a year. But all of those functions report directly to the Board of Education and are a requirement of law.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Rashmi?
I have a question, Tom, on the BOCES administrative costs and the increase on that. How does that work? I mean, what's the process like, and do we have a say in it, or?
Well, we review the budget, but most of those costs that we see from BOCES, including the increase, are the legacy costs from former BOCES employees, meaning retirees and so forth. So the BOCES has an administrative cost, the cost of running their operation on our behalf to provide services, and those costs are allocated to each school district based on a formula that primarily includes our portion of assessed valuation to the whole of the 18 school districts. The predominant increase in their cost is related to their retiree costs, not so much the cost of their operation as it's currently run.
I see. Thank you.
Well, I had just to piggyback on that a little bit, several years ago, I think there was an effort to try to change that formula, was there not, Tom? That they've talked about it on and off.
There was. School districts often try to lobby from year to year based on what elements of a formula will reduce their costs and shift it to other school districts,
Right.
yes. So they did take into account certain elements, but the formula has been relatively stable now for many years.
Can you talk a little bit about the increases in the health insurance consortium? How do they go about determining what the increases are going to be? Do we have any say in that? Do we have representation on that? How does that work?
Yes, we do have say, and we do have representation. I sit on the committee of the whole and on the executive committee of the health consortium. And what we do on an annual basis, business officials and superintendents are both involved. We review the financial condition of the consortium. We look at our reserves. We look at what we're capable of doing, and based on the level of reserves we want in the consortium that are necessary to protect against unforeseen liability. And this year, the initial increase would have been closer to 7%, but we did, as a community of school districts, vote to use cash reserves that were available to reduce it to about 3.5% that we're seeing here. So we do have a say, and we do discuss it, and we do have some influence in the direction that the consortium travels.
And does stuff go out to all of the member districts in terms of how they can help, keep the claims down and things that they can do, or?
There's not so much of that, because some of the loss experiences we have, or the experience that we have in terms of claims, are related to families of the members who are participants, and not necessarily just the employees. But it is, we look at prescription. We just changed our prescription coverage this year. We look at periodically changing underwriters when it's necessary. So they do a great job. The management in BOCES does a great job of looking at those things and controlling the cost. And I'll suggest to you that you're going to be hard-pressed to find another consortium of this size that has as low a premium increase as we've experienced this year.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Pete?
When you look at premium costs just for, even in private enterprise, it's 7 to 10% every single year. It's 13. Yeah, it's just horrible.
Yeah.
Tom, under the auditing section, you talked about mandated costs. Can you maybe go through, tell the public what are we required, or?
And just the mandates are long.
I'm really talking more on the audit.
Well, we talked earlier about the requirements for the internal, external, and the claims audit, but we also have requirements to support those audits. So we have asset management. Under the finance contractual codes, you'll find monies set aside to bring in an outside group to do an audit of all of our assets on an annual basis so that we can comply with GASB regulations. We have Medicaid services that are applicable to special education to make sure that we're getting revenue back from services that qualify under the Medicaid aspects of services to be delivered. And we also have our financial advisors that help us with debt service issuance, bond counsels that are required to govern the issuance of debt and things of that nature. So it's quite an extensive list, but in finance and auditing alone, there's at least 6 or 7 of the mandated services that we provide.
Tom, a question on the BOCES capital project cost. Is this a standalone item, or is this something that goes back to the project they were doing that they were asking every community district to contribute to?
No, this is something else. They've adopted, they heard the input from the boards of education when they did their tour of the boards years ago, and they now have an amount of money that they budget every year to maintain their physical plant. The monies that you see there for that budget represent the budget they're putting aside. Now, I will say we had a spirited discussion with them about it this go-around, because a lot of us who are very familiar with capital projects didn't feel that they were budgeting enough for the project that we're looking at. So we actually encouraged them to increase that budget, because we didn't want to get hit in the middle of the year. The project they were looking at was in a building that is invariably going to find hazardous materials. And a number of us didn't feel that the budget they were allocating was enough for it. And we didn't want to get hit with an unanticipated increase in this cost if they found something they couldn't handle.
So this is in an effort not to have districts go out and borrow to pay for BOCES projects like we had to do. Well, we didn't have to do it several years ago. We were lucky enough to pay for it with
Right.
reserves.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. All right, thank you. Lisa?
Just one other thing. You mentioned something about a family being on the Chappaqua border and choosing the Chappaqua district. So what, can you explain that?
Sure.
It's the first I've heard
So
of that.
we have 2 properties now, 2 properties where the lot that these folks live on straddles 2 school districts, our school district and the Chappaqua schools. In such a condition, the homeowner can choose which school they would choose to send their children to. And in this case, both of them being close to the Chappaqua schools, decided that's what they wanted to do. We have an obligation to reimburse the Chappaqua schools for the taxes that we're collecting, because they both send their taxes to us. We have to turn those over to the Chappaqua schools to the extent that they have kids in the school district. when their kids graduate, we no longer have to provide them with the tax dollars. But until that happens, that's our obligation. We had one up until last year, and then last year, a second one came on, and that's why you see the significant cost in that line item.
Thanks.
That expense item will stay now as long as there are children in the school.
It'll stay there until those homeowners' children graduate through the school district, yes.
And it may go up if they have additional children going to school?
No, the property is assessed at, by the local municipality.
Yeah.
We're turning over what we collect from them in school taxes, which
I
is
see.
not relative to the
Yeah,
number
yeah.
of children they
Yeah.
have, so.
Cheryl?
I'm set, thank you.
Freshman?
I'm good.
Mike?
Tom, can you just speak, we mentioned we have an ERS reserve, we're able to use some of it this year to reduce taxes, but we also have a large expense related to TRS. Why do we not reserve money for that?
Right, so ERS, which is the Employees Retirement System, pension system, and which is where non-certificated employees typically go, and then those who hold licenses typically go on TRS, which is the Teachers Retirement System. We are able to put money aside in the ERS pension reserve, which has been a significant help, because these rates that we have to pay, which are based on the relative health of the portfolios, the investment portfolios of these pension funds, can fluctuate significantly. They have not gotten to the point, the state of New York has not gotten to the point where they have allowed school districts to set up a reserve for the teachers' retirement system, TRS, which is kind of baffling because it's about 3 times larger, and it makes perfect sense to be able to mitigate the impact of some of these wild swings.
Yeah, especially in instances like this year where we're actually have a reduction, that would be money we could if we had the reserve, we could choose to put some money in a
could choose to
reserve
put the
because
money
we
in
know the
reserve.
rate's going to go up at some point.
That's right. Just to give you some context, the rate next year will be 8.86%, down from 10.63% the prior year. When I first started here, the rate was 0.32%, and it's been as high as 18%. So these are significant numbers we talk about. This rate goes from 10.63 to 8.86, and our cost goes down by $700,000, but that's after salary increases, which make our contribution go up. So we're talking about very large numbers, and in a budget where a 2% cap typically redounds to us about $1.2 million worth of cost movement in a year, those movements are hugely impactful, yes.
Pete? Tom, just when I look at the operations of plant, and you see that it's almost an insignificant dollar change, what I notice is, like, electricity keeps going down and some of those things. Can you talk as to why we keep getting these decreases?
Sure. Well, the electricity is a very good example of how we are benefiting from some of the energy efficient systems that we're putting into place. The Director of Facilities, Dennis Verbois, does a wonderful job identifying areas where we can do work internally on systems and identifying systems that are necessary for us that can save money over the long term. So currently, we're entertaining some test piloting of new light fixtures that have more of an LED type of a bulb that should be able to save us money. So Mr. Verbois is testing that with a company that we've investigated already. But on the electricity side, on the heating side, some of the investments we made more than 10 years ago on boilers and ceilings and lights are starting to pay off.
Terrific. All right. Any other questions? We all good? All right. Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks,
All
Tom.
right. Tax cap next time, fun. All right, we are up to the personnel agenda. If I can open it. Upon a recommendation of the superintendent, a motion that the following be approved. Under class of certified personnel, we have part-time appointment, we have additions to the substitute list, we have extra duty, and we have administrative leave of absence. Under other compensation, we have the extra credits for February, and then under classified personnel, we have additions to the substitute list.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Jack, just a question
Sure.
on personnel. And you probably don't have the information, have all the, with the spring season upon us, have all the coaching vacancies been filled?
We're still in the process of filling a few. The varsity coaching positions have been filled, but there
Okay.
are some of the JV, JVB teams or freshman teams that haven't been filled.
Okay. Board action items. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the January 28th and the February 4th meetings?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? A motion to approve the treasurer's report for January 2019?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Claims audit report. A motion to approve the claims audit report for January 2019?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The school calendar, everybody's favorite. A motion to approve the calendar for the 2019-20 school year.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Business office. A motion to approve the contract with Safe Havens International to visit the Yorktown Central School District on March 20th and 21st, 2019, to provide the district with school safety and security consultation. Contract cost not to exceed $15,000.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, Tom, we bring the Safe Havens in every year or two. He is our major security consultant. Can you just remind everybody about Michael Dorn?
Sure. Michael Dorn is considered to be one of the world's foremost authorities on school safety. He comes here every year and has come every year for, I'm going to say this is probably his 10th visit. And Dr. Hatter and I went through an itinerary for him, which we think is aggressive and necessary, and we look forward to his visit.
But he advises us on things we can do to continually improve what we're
does.
already doing.
He's got a keen perspective, and he's one of those people who's been in almost every country in the world in this regard, in terms of school safety, and he brings a lot to the table. So we're very pleased to have him.
Terrific. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Budget transfers. A motion to approve the following budget transfers below.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Nobody wanted to make.
Discussion.
Go ahead.
Tom, we're moving money out of fuel oil, we're moving money out of fuel oil contingency at this stage of the game. How
Yes,
confident
we're-
are we with that?
Well, first off, we, at the beginning of the year, we do everything we can to top off the tanks before the end of the prior school year. So we did that in early June last year. So we went into the heating season fully stocked up. But we're convinced right now that based on the deliveries that were just done, that we were not going to need the contingency this year. So we're tapping into that money.
How much did we have in there? Is it 50?
50,000,
Okay.
yes.
And that's the first we've taken?
Excuse me?
Is that the first
Yes.
transfer out?
Yes,
All right, good, thank you.
you're welcome.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Technology surplus. Whereas the district owns computers and related technology equipment that are beyond their useful life or necessary for school district purposes and therefore are of no value to the school district, therefore be it resolved that the board hereby declares such computers and related technology equipment as listed on the attachment that is made a part of this resolution to be obsolete property and of no value to the school district, and ratifies the actions of the Director of Technology in causing the disposal of such computers in an environmentally compliant manner and ensuring that all information and data stored within the equipment has been destroyed.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby authorizes the Board of Education President and the Superintendent of Schools to execute an agreement with the Westchester County Center for the use of the county center for semifinal games involving the Yorktown High School teams as the host school, with the costs and expenses of the use of the county center to be paid from gate receipts, except for the cost of officials, et cetera, and capped at the amount of gate receipts received. A copy of such agreement shall be incorporated by reference within the minutes of this meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, Ron, you just want to explain, because we've never done county center before.
Absolutely. So last year, Section 1 removed the semifinal and championship basketball games for both varsity boys and girls from the county center, and it was assigned to another venue. I believe it was Pace University last year. This year, they have given, Section 1 has given school districts the option to piggyback on an RFP that they submitted so that they may elect to have their semifinal games hosted at the Westchester County Center, which is a really important and meaningful venue for high school students in the basketball world. So this agreement that the board is authorizing this evening allows us to piggyback on that RFP at no additional cost to our residents, to our taxpayers.
Terrific. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Professional improvement program, instructional. Motion to approve the following Yorktown Congress of Teachers Professional Improvement Program proposals listed below.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Placement, a motion to arrange the following placements for February 11, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're up to board comment. Pete? You're good? Mike?
Nope.
Rashmi?
I'm good.
Cheryl?
I'm good, thanks.
Lisa?
good.
All right, we are all good. I just want to thank the high school students for that beautiful mural once again. We are really appreciative and thankful for them. Ron, Lisa, Tom, anything? All right. Anybody from the public wishing to speak? Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?